that will take me to section 5, paragraph B, D, and F of that act. Paragraph B says you can only the section 5 and paragraph B says you can only disconnect a consumer provided, it is stated, provided 10 good working days is given for that consumer to pay. It then means, sir, you cannot come into my building as a staffer of any distribution company and serve me a bill. My delivery date is 15th July, and you then come on 17th July to disconnect me. No. Who does that? I did not argue with you. I did not do any confrontation. I know the position of the law, and I know what the law states and stipulates about this. Of course, I know what to do, and I'm going to ask you to do that which you have come to do. And it then means, and the interpretation to me means, whoever has sent you on such mission, be it your undertaking manager, or your business unit manager, or whoever, or your district manager, whoever sent you on such mission, does not even understand or knows at all the rules of engagement of his work. It then means, if I don't, or you don't know the rules of engagement of where you work, it means your salary should be deducted. Probably 30% of the salary should be deducted, and such should be used to take you to training. You know, bank, of course, a bank, if you want to start working in the banking industry, you'll be given series of trainings. And so, of course, when you are already part of the bank, at intervals, you'll be made to attend trainings. And so I want to believe in the same vein. And I'm putting this straight to all distribution companies. Probably our NERC will take it up with them. I'm putting it straight to them that 90% of the so-called business managers do not even know nor understand the rules of engagement. The law further states and stipulated again that if provided, we are still on that section 5, paragraph D, that provided the billing date is not less than 3 months. It means you cannot come into a building and even disconnect in that space of 3 months. And consumer complaint handling procedures says that 15 days you must have attended to a consumer complaint.
Why are they not?
Because some of them, they don't do anything. Peradventure, it's going to take you more than 15 days. You will communicate to the consumer who had made a complaint that we had received your letter of complaint, and so we are acting on it. You will communicate in writing to the consumer, not just assuming that the consumer should know we are busy. No, you are the one serving them. Any distribution company which disconnects electricity supply illegally to a consumer, illegally or unlawfully premises, in violation of these stipulated laws, in violation, I repeat, of this stipulated law, Electric Power Reform Sector Act 2005, 14:11, paragraph A, it states clearly that such staff is liable to conviction. It's liable on conviction. Either you are a maximum demand customer, either you are a residential customer, either you are a commercial customer, either you are an industrial customer, or either you are a special customer. For a residential customer, if you are disconnected illegally or in violation to this rule I have mentioned, you are entitled to the payment of 1,000 naira daily. If you are on commercial billing, you are entitled to the sum of 1,000 naira for each day they disconnect you. And it says in the copy order 197/2020, which came into being and into existence February 2020, that copy has repealed estimated billing. And if a law has repealed and existed, what does it mean? Automatically it has taken charge.
Well, it's another very wonderful, lovely day today in Lagos, and in continuation of our investigation about the rights of Nigerian consumers, especially as regard the power sector and the discos, and especially the fraudulent activities of some discos who have refused to follow through the new capping templates of the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission. You recall that we spoke to the president of all Electricity Consumer Forum, Comrade Adeola Ilori, but today, right now, we're going to be speaking to the secretary of that wonderful organization, Ms. Kenny Jones, and she's going to be talking about some of the issues, especially the issue that regards to activities of agent of the disco company that comes to remove people's life, what it takes, what are the essentials before you disconnect a customer, and what are the law guiding the rules of regulation, the rules of engagement. She's going to be talking to us. We met her in Lagos today, and we are thanking her for this wonderful time. Madam, it's nice being with you today, and I want you to introduce yourself and what does it mean to sit on this wonderful seat as the secretary of this organization.
I'm pleased to be here with you this afternoon. I remain my humble self, Comrade KEHINDE Jones, Secretary General, All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum.
Well, we spoke with your president recently, and he spoke about some of the issues, and he brought us face to face with the new capping template, which we learned has repealed the estimated billing template of the NERC Act 205. When you look at Lagos today, you see a lot of, I'm sure you will have seen a lot of videos of disco boys coming to people's house with their ladder, with outrageous bill, and before you know it, there is a fixed tick-off, there's a fight, there's a brouhaha, in most cases resulting to destruction of peace, public peace, and all that. What is the rule of engagement in this? I mean, people just bring their ladder to come and disconnect people. You as a secretary, and with someone who is very knowledgeable in the laws that guide the consumer rights, what do you think are the rules of engagement? Thank
you for this question, and I am so glad to actually pieces this part of disconnection and reconnection. And so I'm going to be presenting to Nigerians this afternoon, to the fearful Nigerians, because Nigerians are not fearless. I want to believe my national coordinator do say something that the Nigerianness in us will not allow us to take some steps. And so when you see Nigerians can lament. Nigerians, we are good at agonizing, but when it comes to acting, Nigerians will tell you, no, I don't want to go any further. And you then become you look as if, have I become suddenly a medicine interloper? Where did I become a gbeboru? It means they are not even contracted me to do this in the first place. And so, for the sake of that, and for the sake of the law, the position of the law is so clear about this. And I'm going to be reading this. It is written in black and white. Electric Power Reform Act, Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005, which was issued out in year 2007 from Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. And so it is a law that is binding on non-Nigerians, binding on all the 11 distribution companies that serves each consumer's electricity supply. And so that will take me to section 5, paragraph B, D, and F of that act. Paragraph B says you can only the section 5 and paragraph B says you can only disconnect a consumer provided, it is stated, provided 10 good working days is given for that consumer to pay. It then means, sir, you cannot come into my building as a staffer of any distribution company and serve me a bill. My delivery date is 15th July, and you then come on 17th July to disconnect me. No, who does that? I did not argue with you. I did not do any confrontation. I know the position of the law, and I know what the law states and stipulates about this. Of course, I know what to do. And I'm going to ask you to do that which you have come to do. And it then means, and the interpretation to me means, whoever has sent you on such mission, be it your undertaking manager, or your business unit manager, or whoever, or your district manager, whoever sent you on such mission, does not even understand or knows at all the rules of engagement of his work. It then means, if I don't, or you don't know the rules of engagement of where you work, it means your salary should be deducted. Probably 30% of the salary should be deducted, and such should be used to take you to training. You know, bank, of course, a bank, if you want to start working in the banking industry, you'll be given series of trainings. And so, of course, when you are already part of the bank, at intervals, you'll be made to attend trainings. And so I want to believe in the same vein. And I'm putting this straight to all distribution companies. Probably our NERC will take it up with them. I'm putting it straight to them that 90% of the so-called business managers do not even know nor understand the rules of engagement.
Yep.
And for the sake of Nigerians,
You are right, ma.
who do not believe, I want to take pain to read this, that it is not written by all electricity consumer protection, neither is it written by a distribution company. It is written, and it is a law that has come to being, that is binding on all distribution companies, not just binding on one distribution companies. And you will recall that we have about 11 of them. And so somebody, a distribution company, cannot just decide to choose and say, I want to choose to disobey the law that binds my operation flagrantly, and so you feel you get away with it. And so section 5 of this law, paragraph B, states that distribution company can only disconnect supply to a consumer's address when the consumer has not paid the amount correctly billed for the supply address to the relevant due date, provided that, underline the word provided, sir.
Provided
that payment date is at least 10 working days from the date of delivery. That's explain my explanation.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What I portrayed earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's explain my illustration, my early illustration, that you cannot give me a billing today, 15th July, and then come to my house 2 days thereafter to disconnect me.
But in the case of Ikeja Electric, Abule Taylor, and according to some of the landlords in that area, they give you bill. They now do it electronically, so they send it to your phone. E-billing, and the next day they storm your house. In fact, in the house of Princess Balogun in that area, a particular property we're investigating and we use as our S3 whatever, we are also investigating other properties. They even come with gun. Fred has that power, a service manager in Abule Taylor, to use civil defense people. There are videos where he sends civil defense people, and at times even use police to go and harass customer. I mean, in a case like this, what do you think is the rule of engagement? Does it appear and honest to send policemen to a residential building to harass and to remove people's lights?
It's a no, sir. And so that's why I said earlier that you and I as Nigerians it is high time you need to activate the laws, the existing laws. It is high time you make them see. One of our saying in electricity consumer protection, we always say to whoever cares to listen that we will make them to serve us better. And I think that's what we have been doing. We'll make them to, if you say you're on this state and you do not know what your rule of engagement is, we will make you to activate it. For as long as it is written, and we will make you to serve us better. Coming to harass consumers with police, you need not go confrontation. All you need to do is approach whoever police. If they like, they should come with DPOs. If they like, they should come with area commanders. You need to approach the area commander, whoever is as accompanying them, that see, you and I are consumers. What they are doing to us here presently, they are doing to your wives and children at home, where they are kept in the barracks. I have had cause to address about 2 or 3 police officers in this same manner, and I made it clear to them that, see, let me tell you, your wives begs for blocks on PWD streets to ice whatever they put in your fridge. And so he became relaxed, and he told me, tell me more. And I said, if you care to know more, you needed not be compromised and allow yourself to be used on Nigerians because of. And I pieces it to him and made him realize the laws about disconnection and reconnection. And so he had to call the team he came with, and he said, can they have this resolved with the consumers? And I said, no, it's not about that side. He only came here because they know they have come to do that which is illegal. On this note, I'm going to recall something. I think it happened a couple of days ago. I was on field work, and so I was in a particular street, and I saw some engineers on the pole wanting to disconnect a particular building, and I walk up to them, and one Eniola from, I'm going to be precise about this because this is not the first time. Yeah. One Eniola from which? No, his surname is Eniola, is popularly known and addressed as Eniola in other Eju undertaking. and I think it has become part of him when he goes to areas like that under his network, and so people start running after him. You see old women and old men with rappers and start begging him, this is what we're able to gather 1,000. And I said, madam, and I was able to counsel. I said, you need not run after him. You have made him to become a small god unto himself.
That's what one Jim also did the other day at in Ikeja area when they came, and we made a call to you because we were investigating that building, and the landlady said we should come and ask the Jimo, I think Jimo Rabi or something, Jimo Brahimo.
Okay.
And, when he was telling you that he doesn't care, that his friend that told him to go and remove it, and that's what a lot of them do. Even in Lerato area and in Teswaju, there is what we call Mr. Tony. They also say he comes there, and the boys come to disconnect light, and when they are disconnecting, he sits in a beer parlor, and people are trying to call his phone. The phone is always switched off. But the moment those guys take their ladder, they disconnect that they are going, his phone becomes open. So you have to go and beg him at that beer parlor, and he will tell you he's going to tell to them, and before you know it, a wrap-up deal has been done between the consumer and him.
Has there been any pictorial evidence as regards this?
Yeah, we got a video of him somewhere, but it's not too big. But someone somewhere I think there's somebody that have an evidence somewhere. Yeah.
And so the law further states that provided the payment date is between period of 3, not less than 3 months.
Before you can disconnect.
I established earlier that your delivery date, your bill must have been delivered to you 10 good working days before the due date. And so that's why I made a narration of you cannot come and serve a particular building a bill on the 15th of July, and then you then come back on the 17th of July how you want to disconnect because of current bill. And so the law further states and stipulated again that if provided, we are still on that section 5 paragraph D, that provided the billing date is not less than 3 months, it means you cannot come into a building and even disconnect in that space of 3 months. Let me explain what the law states.
Kindly explain.
It means that you were served a bill on the 15th of July, and of course probably you're having issues, you're financially incapable to pay at that period in time, and so you have every right to approach your undertaking manager and speak with him that this is when you would have the financial ability to pay your bill. And so you will come to the understanding that this is when, okay, fine, it is agreed, it will be in written. Fine. So whoever comes to your area will understand that you have come into a written agreement with the undertaking manager serving your network or your franchise area. So the disconnection law here that states that we cannot disconnect a building if it is less than 3 months. If you have not, and the F part states that the distribution company must have given the customer a written warning. That's what I call notice in my earlier address. A written warning that the electricity supply shall be disconnected if payment is not made by the payment date, and the warning will contain that the date of the date the servitor, that letter is, the date is certain and it is clearly written and can be seen. Provided that a telephone number and address of your distribution company where you can actually access them for help to further discuss is written on that disconnection notice. You can see the condition. Yes. And so now under that 3 months you must have exhausted all these channels before. You must have seen, a distribution company must have exhausted all these channels before they come into your building and just disconnect your electricity supply abruptly. You cannot. That's why I found I derive so much pleasure and joy by putting them to do the right thing when I meet them on the field. And no, it pleases me to leave whatever engagements I have to do today. It pleases me to engage you for hours and educate you that which you don't know, or that which you know or you decided to disobey, or that which you know or because you want to extort Nigerians.
Excuse me, man. I have to bring you to this point. Do you know that in most cases, and especially in that area, I think that Lerato area and the the Bajomo, everybody area, these guys goes with POS, and when they come to your house, according to our investigation, they get an alert on a particular day, then the next day they storm your house, probably with police, then there's someone carry POS, and they put you under a kind of uncommon pressure. They tell you, she was send this in no, then somebody has put the ladder there, they're always on top, they start creating all sort of drama. So people will run out to go and start to the ATM. Some will even call to borrow money. This is women.
It is human. Okay. And on this note, I want to say the rate at which some of our staffs or some of the staffers of electricity distribution companies has gone, devil or Lucifer want to start calling them an elder because of the rate of iman in them now these days. And so like I said, I'm going to reiterate this again, that you need not argue with them or allow them to disconnect if whoever they have sent down have no knowledge, because I will come to an assumption that he knows nothing, next to nothing about his role of engagement. I'm going to engage him, and in so doing I know how to put your pen into writing. And so of course I'm going to state, for the sake of Nigerians, I am going to give you some of these laws that back up illegal disconnection and reconnection processes. And so when you meet Nigerians who are so ignorant of this, you let them know how to write and back it up with the provisions of the law. And so the provisions of the law even states here in section 11 of this same Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005 that and this is a part that is so sweet. Let me make a simple example of multi-choice, DSTV, GoTV, and what have you. Okay. You cannot, as a staff of multi-choice company, you cannot come into my building and say you want to take away my decoder. No. Or what is hang outside? Okay, I understand the decoder should be inside. Yes. You want to take away my antenna outside. Where is that done? It's the same thing that we are allowed. It is we Nigerians are allowed them. Because it's the same privatization company that they have. It's the same thing that distribution companies are doing.
To the wire.
Nigerians, that I am putting to you, that is it possible that a multi-choice staff will come into a building and just cut away? And because to an extent, you see some houses, they'll start complaining to us when they call our office that, hey, they have cut away my wire. And I'll say, I will laugh, because you know why I laugh? These people knows next to nothing, and are these people I want to engage on the field? No, I'll go to a superior officers whom I want to believe should have a knowledge. And I wouldn't want to be arguing with somebody whom I've seen clearly that there is a lot of knowledge gap in what I'm saying, that is even written black and white, and he's still arguing. And so I wouldn't want to engage such Iman, because I will know that the level of Iman in him, he will want to vent whatever he's coming with. And so, because he is already pushed to crash drive, go and get this 700,000 naira for us today. And so that is what he set out to do on that day. Whatever you say to him, this is a law, it's on a deaf ear. And so such people, you let them know that if he disconnects me, so many times they had come to harass my mother's building, and I'll tell them, you cannot continue to constantly harass this old man because she pays all her current bill. There had been a time when she traveled, she wasn't in Nigeria, and so for like a period of a year plus, when I wrote for suspension that they should suspend that account, do you know they were still billing that house?
Billing the house.
They were still billing
that you even wrote.
Yes, and so it shows. And the first thing I did, I went to the undertaking manager, whom is a very, yes, I must confess, to his credit, Mr. Victor, the NGO undertaking manager, he is a knowledgeable person, and I think he knows his rule of engagement. He knows his onions, and he will not want to do anything contrary to what is binding. And so he printed out the statement of accounts, and in that statement of accounts, I was able to do the calculation myself without any experts, that it was clearly shown on the statement of account. You can request for your statement of account. I'm putting it to you now. On the statement of account, all the abnormalities of those months she was not around were shown as 0 kilowatts, 0 reading. You understand? And so how do you arrive at the billings? And so with dates, I made references to that. I sent my letter, and so because they had not treated it, and consumer complaint handling procedures says that 15 days you must have attended to a consumer complaint.
Why are they not?
Because some of them, they don't do anything. Peradventure, it's going to take him more than 15 days. You will communicate to the consumer who had made a complaint that we had received your letter of complaint, and so we are acting on it. You will communicate in writing to the consumer Not just assuming that the consumer should know we are busy. No, you are the one serving them. And so this will take me back to the multi-choice provider that I mentioned earlier, that you cannot, it is not possible for you to come and take away my wiring, whatever I have used to connect my decoder in. The same way it should not be possible for any distribution company staffers to come into your building. At present age, we are supposed to be paying for what we consume. We are supposed to be paying. I buy where I reside. I recharge on my card. I stay on my card here because I can imagine them. I charged yesterday and said this one is still it's not loading. Yeah. And I went to take it to one of them that taking manager at Iju. And so if I recharge 4,000 naira, my 4,000 naira is what I should use. And because we are not enjoying that as it's where now, you still don't have right to disconnect me, because by the virtue of the law, any disobedience to that law states that there are penalties. There are penalties to be paid if any distribution company which disconnects electricity supply illegally to a consumer illegally or unlawfully premises in violation of these stipulated laws. In violation, I repeat, of this stipulated law, Electric Power Reform Sector Act 2005, 14:11, paragraph A, it states clearly that such staff is liable to conviction. Is liable on conviction. And you and I know the word, what the word conviction means. It then means it is clearly a criminal offense. There is no two ways to it. It is clearly a criminal offense. If someone is liable on conviction on an offense, then you know that the regulatory body has done their own bit, has done wonderfully well by putting all this into writing, into being.
So the laws are there, but people are not utilizing it.
Yeah, because people don't know, because they don't even want us to know. They don't want you to know, because when you know, they know some of you will come to activate things, and so none of them can argue this except it is changed tomorrow. As we live, as God live, as we speak right now, it is still the existing law. And it further states that it states the customer classification and the penalty that will be given based on your, either you are a maximum demand customer, either you are a residential customer, either you are a commercial customer, you are an industrial customer, or either you are a special customer. For a residential customer, if you are disconnected illegally or in violation to this rule I have mentioned, you are entitled to the payment of 1,000 naira daily. If you are on commercial billing, you are entitled to the sum of 1,000 naira for each day they disconnect you.
That's, you mean the service provider? The
service provider, your distribution company will pay you the sum of 1,000 naira.
I can't believe this. Are you sure?
These are laws. These are power. I'm going to be reading to you again. Probably you think because I'm cutting off and so these are not. This is Electric Power Sector Reform Act number 6 of 2005, and I'm quoting section 11 for you here. And it says that any distribution company which disconnects electricity supply to a customer's premises in violation of this regulation commits an offense and is liable on conviction to pay the customer a penalty as stipulated in the table below for each or part of a day that the supply is wrongfully disconnected. For the sake of doubting Thomas, is that I read it out clearly, and so I have.
So that means people can even tell their lawyer to ask for those.
Of course we can. It is your right. If
people like Fred Udogbo that is busy disconnecting people in that area after billing them outrageously, that just send his boys, and those boys just come arrogantly. Even if you talk to them, they just abuse you. They just talk on you anyhow.
You are not lying. One of which one of them is the NLI I mentioned that is under Iju network. I approached.
Can you describe him?
He's a bit lanky. It should be about 6 feet tall.
Fair or black?
It's not dark. It should be browny in color. Okay. And so I approached him to ask him questions. Oga, are these people aware that you want to disconnect them? He said, what is this one talking? I said, no, I just want to explain, because this next building happens to be where my mother resides, and I've been writing now since April last year, April 1st, and to the glory of God, I have all the acknowledged copy of what I've been writing, and that's what saved Nigerians. To some of us, you just complain, and they are not saying your complaints. You don't just complain verbally, you complain with proofs, with facts and figures, and with dates. And so because we have your facts and dates, they cannot deny all this, because I want to tell you, it is all out in their systems there. They have all these things documented, but because they know you are so ignorant of the law, because you are so ignorant of how to write to them and how to put all this into writing, that this happened or this is so dates with facts, and say they know they're hanging on your ignorance, and so they can treat you inhumanly. Some of them have just chosen to, some of them decided to, this week I want to be the best staff, cash drive, and so they go out. And they go out. Some of them, one of them, the marketing person in that network where my mother resides. When I interrogated her, she came to a conclusion that, madam, she understands, but she wants to be sincere with me that how do I want her to go about printing disconnection notice for about more than 1,000 customers in the network. And do you know, I was happy. And I then put it straight to her that I'm so happy that you admitted for the first time that this is the true position of the law, that you are supposed to write. It is not your making, it is not a distribution, and it is not just one distribution company under Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. And so you cannot decide to act in violation or in isolation, your distribution company, Ikeja. And so if you know this, that is an existing law, then why do you find it so difficult to do? She said, because madam, I will not understand in this manner, because you don't understand when you send your men out to go out there and embarrass. This is not about just disconnection they do. You need to see the rate at which they embarrass people. And so 98% of Nigerians are on their right. It is because they don't know all this I have read out to you. And it is our duty as consumer rights group to educate Nigerians on that which they need to know as regards connection. And the law says without prejudice to subsection, it says without prejudice to sub-regulation 1, sub-regulation 1, section 5, that without prejudice to that law, a distribution company can disconnect a consumer in its network if found that such consumer has connected illegally and without the knowledge of the distribution company. Those are these types of consumer you can disconnect without giving them any notice, any prior notice. You can disconnect if found that there's an energy theft that has been established. You can also disconnect, a distribution company can also disconnect if found that the house where you house the meter, it is not accessible for the staff of the distribution company to read your meter for 3 consecutive billing times, not just one. About 3 times they must have come around and they were unable to access where they will read your meter, not where the meter type of meter that we have now. Of course, you should know that maybe probably you are not easy to access. You have not been paid for the past 3 months, and so they cannot access you. Of course, they want to believe that there's nobody in that apartment. By the time they disconnect, maybe you then find your time to come. If peradventure somebody is still living in that building, I'm telling you conditions where you can disconnect without notice.
Oh, but in most cases, it's like they don't even want to have a meter, and those who have meter, they don't even come near those meters. Now they tell you that it's an outdated meter or it's an old meter.
I think that yes, there is a truth saying about that any meter that is more than 10 years now working should not be readable, or they want to, I don't want to believe it's on a basis of assumption. Because to an extent, I approached about 2 undertaking managers who educated me that no, that truthfully they had been communicated to that any meter, any analog meter that has been on for more than 10 good solid years, it's not an accurate analog meter any longer, and so it is their duty to replace for as long as we found that analog meter still working. So that's to correct the impression that they just want to come and serve you bill and just to, in order to just extort you and because they know that the person they are relating with is so ignorant about the position of the law as regards when they should disconnect you and when you should be reconnected. And that's why I mentioned those that the law states is that without prejudice to sub-regulation 1 section 5 of the law, that these are the type of customers that a distribution company can disconnect without giving them any notice. And those are the customers that you connect without the knowledge of your distribution company, and they don't know you are in their network until they find out that you are non-energy theft. Or you either connect on a wrongful path where it is said to be dangerous to a human health. And again, you cannot disconnect when in a building where you have somebody using a life support. The law also stipulated that a life support machine. But how many of them even cares to know?
They don't even want to know, really.
NERC has said that they have not issued out any communique that any distribution company should stop using any meter that is more than 10 years in use. I want to believe it is just a way of enjoying free spree by our distribution companies, and that's why they have come to that conclusion, which has not been ascertained till we speak by NERC.
Before I round up, if you look at other countries now, in Benin Republic, we've been going to Benin Republic since the year 2002, even up to Ghana. Every system has been automated. In Accra, before you leave your hotel, they tell you please switch off your light because everything is automated. You don't see anybody to collect the money. So how do you feel in Nigeria that people are still carrying ladder, fighting people? Then when NEPA comes, it's like Ogun today, and also today is like there's wahala, there's crisis, everybody's coming down from their room. Everybody, how? What is your?
I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed for this fact that I'm in Nigeria, and at this computer age and at this technology age, you are still experiencing this as if you are still in a cake age. I feel embarrassed because what ought not to bring any controversies or confrontation. And you see, like I mentioned earlier, you see old women in just wrappers, they start running after engineers who are meant to just mount the pole and disconnect you. At this age, I feel embarrassed when I see people coming out to fight and you see bloodshed because somebody had come to disconnect. And that's why I said, can a multi-choice staff come into your house? They even call you and ask you, have you been enjoying our service? Our distribution company, do they even care? They don't. They don't even want you to know. I have put a question to one business manager that said, have you come to a listening and probably select a team that will do a phone conversation and ask questions? Okay, this is my network, this is my network. Ask them, how do they enjoy supply? How many hours supply do they get in a week? And so from there, you get your performance structure. Not that you just, the only thing you are concerned about, and those are the areas why I mentioned I'm embarrassed.
You are very poor in that.
They don't even do it. Not that it's what you do.
From my investigation, Fred in Abule Taylor, elders of the community, this is not lie. Elders go to Lerato, go to Itesiwaju, go to Bachomo. They go to his office and he keeps them waiting 2 hours. And we have videos whereby he was sitting and talking to people that are complaining. People are standing, elderly people say your boys are coming to discuss this guy, and we tell them that when next my boy come, you just coming from the feed, Oga. I will tell them, but if I look at your whatever here, I will tell them to go and remove. He talks to them as if they don't even exist.
Sir, I'm still going back to saying it is because they have failed to still activate the law. See, it's not about verbal. Like I have been mentioning this, you don't have to go verbatical with him. You know what to do. You put into writing that which is the rule of engagement that binds him not to disconnect as superior. You send it to his superior officers, and so you copy him. Let the superior officer whom you have sent to act on that, and so you'll be watching your TikTok time, and so you give them some working days.
Even some elders even told us that even the Mr. Nicholas Okoye does not even react. Lawrence Okoye, that Ponle does not react until when we did the video we did recently with those communities that they have to now call meeting, and I learned that the Okoye man, I don't know who is he, was asking that we have to put down the video, and I was wondering maybe he's the journalist, maybe he's the one that paid for my school when I was in school. Maybe the one that sent me to school. He was telling those landlords, and they have to shout him down that look, this is an investigative job.
Sir, do you know you can invite him down to the community? Yes, they have the right to. He's serving your community.
They said he's heady.
Sir, on many occasions we have had cause to invite engineer Mr. Adelakun. Yes, on 2 occasions which I can recollect very vividly, I've had reason to be in the meetings with him, and when we invited him down, if at a time there was he had given an appointment to a particular community and about group communities where they have group CDA chairman. So because he could not make it, he was so busy in the office, and so they were just downstairs waiting for us, and he had to reschedule through me. He gave them another day, and he came down to Iju, not to even stress them all the way from. He came down that he doesn't want to stress them back to.
But Okoye didn't come. Instead, he said all those adults, all those elder people should come to Ponle after his boy Fred Odogbo misbehaved and dealt with people during the lockdown. In fact, there are some people he put in darkness for 3 months during the lockdown, disconnected them. In fact, group disconnection, we have videos of elders who have prepaid that were affected in those different communities up to Abule Egba, even up to Ekoro, our area in Ekoro there, and all the Ekoro Road and Abule Egba side. You know, it is something that is just inhumane. You know, so, and Mr. Lawrence was saying they should still come, and all of them say, look, we have come here, and they said one of his bosses from Lausa even told him to start prostrating for people that, look, you didn't do well. But see yet, Fred is still sitting on that seat.
Sir, it is still the same thing. So you can write to Alausa, you can write to the MD sending your request. It is not a proposal, you are requesting, because these are the communities they serve. If the community are not using electricity supply, Fred will not be on that seat. Get this straight, sir. If the community are no longer using electricity supply, if they decide today and say they want to wake up tomorrow and start using inverter or solar means of electricity supply, they cannot be in the office. It is a community people, it is the consumers that can keep them on the seat. It is also the same set of consumers that can send them away from that seat. If let me put 80%, don't let us even use 100. Okay, let us even come down to 60%. Sir, I want to tell you that by the time 60% decided and agreed and come to a conclusion that we are no longer in need of your electricity supply, Ikeja Electric, take it off from us, and we are writing before you take it to court, and you are able to obtain judgment without even going to court. You can write to them, and so if you are firm on your decisions, they will come back to the community because they are in business in that franchise area, because you are getting electricity supply from them, and that is just a basic truth. They are in business because they are serving you. And if you say you no longer want their services, what are they still doing there? Would they say they still have any business unit office there? No. And so it is up to the community now to take it up legally. Stop being verbal with them. Put it into writing, and so activate the law with them. By so doing, I want to believe you are going to record a whole lot of changes.
Before we round up, really, I would like to ask you this question again. This billing situation now around everywhere is very mad. People are taking bill. In fact, in an economy that is saddled with the coronavirus, people are not in business. People are sitting at home. In fact, a lot of private school teachers, I didn't know if you see a video whereby some private schools were crying that they need money at home. Ikeja Electric, the bills are becoming as strenuous. Not just Ikeja Electric, I think some other discos, but prominently Ikeja Electric. They bring all sort of bills now, and we are talking about this era of capping. We are just aware of your capping, whatever. How do you think people can go about this to get their law? I mean, Ikeja Electric appears to not to be humane at all. Even during the lockdown, Fred, one Mr. Tony under Abuletelo distribution network, undertaking office, was still going around to collect money from people. There was no mercy, and now after the lockdown, they increased the charges arbitrarily. In fact, it's more than capping, it's more than estimated billing. I mean, in a flat whereby people are now collecting 27,000 for 2-bedroom flats, 30,000 for 3-bedroom flat, all sort of in that area. What do you think should be the necessary law, and how is your forum going to help?
Thank you, sir, for that question. In that regard, May precisely, we were able to issue out a press statement, and so we sent out letters to group communities where we have the heads we were able to send out letters, we were able to sensitize and educate Nigerians on capping. And so what do I mean by capping? Capping comes to be as a result of the fact that NERC wants all consumers to be metered.
Okay, that is the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission.
And so all the 11 distribution companies came to a conclusion, and all distribution companies were given time to prepare their templates. This is not, nobody prepared templates for any distribution company. Ikeja Electric did theirs, likewise Abuja, same thing with Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, same thing with Enugu, same thing with Benin, same thing with Port Harcourt, same thing with Kaduna. And so somebody might not just choose to disobey flagrantly and say, I am not going to be part of this. All distribution companies are given, all distribution companies sent out. Do you wonder how we get this template? That's why I said it is not a document of it's not our document. It is a document of our distribution companies. And so I am going to be showing you something about how fantastic Abuja distribution company is. Abuja went as far as going to pieces all the kilowatts. If I live in Asokoro, this is what is applicable for me to pay. Maybe I should be on 230 kilowatts in a month, and my approved tariff rate should be 20 something naira point 50 kobo. You understand? That is, Abuja did not even want to give anybody go through any stress. Abuja did it. If you are in Gwagwalada, this is what you should be paying. If you are in Gaki, this is what you should be paying. And this is the document of Abuja. Abuja says if you are in Asokoro, under energy cap kilowatts, your kilowatt should be 616 at the tariff rate of 24 naira 30 kobo for a residential building. And that with your bill should be about 14,000 naira 60. The way you now add your 7.5% of VAT, you should be about 1,000 naira something there about. You should be about 1,000, about 120 something there about. You'll be having about 16,000 there about.
So 16,000.
And we know that is Asokoro, and
that's Asokoro, and Fred is collecting something more than that in Lagos, in Lerato area.
Okay, fine. If you live in Gaki says your consumption should not. If you live in Buhari says you should not. Your consumption should not be more than 95. It could be lesser or 95. Then if you're having kilowatts of 95 for a residential building at 24 naira tariff rate 30 kobo plus a 7% VAT, 7.5% VAT, you're having about 2,309 naira to pay in Abuja.
The Abuja of all places.
Yes, Barry. And so Abuja distribution company had listed, if you are living in Apo, this is what you'll be paying. Asokoro, Bari, Gaki, Gwagalada, Gwarimpa, Jabi, Jikowo, Karu, Kasampe, and all of them. It listed all the franchise area under them. And so you then now know that it is not a child play. It is not anybody's doing. This has a comprehensive law backing it all, and it says in the copy under 197/2020, which came into being and into existence February 2020, that copy has repealed estimated billing. And if you know, if a law has repealed and existence, what does it mean? Automatically it has taken charge. And so you need not argue with them. Okay, fine. In my where I reside, I use the prepaid meter. Where my mother resides, she's still on. I wouldn't want to call it estimated billing. I am activating it for them. She's on capping methodology. What I do is just calculate the kilowatt sent out by Ikeja Disco, and I arrive at what she's supposed to be paying, just 2,306 naira with our 113 kilowatts for our franchise area under Abulegba, Ikorodu, Oshodi, Ikeja, and all the 6 geopolitical zones under Ikeja Electric were listed. And so for those under residential, for those on maximum demand, for maximum demand customers, for customers on commercial 1 and 2 3, it was listed and pieces. Nobody prepared it for them. And so if you say you had make your findings, you had check your pros and cons on a document and you release it, are you not saying some documents released by you should not be binding on you again? What are we talking? What are we even saying?
But that's what Fred and his boys, and even I think Mr. Okoye is supporting tactically in Ponle, because they don't rein in on that guy until this morning.
I'm sorry, sir, to cut it. Put it in your writing in your letter that you are suggesting to his MD to start removing his salary to do a training for him on the rules of engagement. Okay. I think by the time you are activating their brain, you need to activate them. Let them know what. You cannot just be in an office. You cannot just be in an office and you don't know what you are there for. You cannot be in an office just because of cash drive alone. No. Who does that? And that's why I said when I responded to that question you asked them that what happens to Cotonou and all of that, I said I am ashamed. I am still ashamed because of some of these acts, because of some of this evil perpetrated by the so-called business managers who are supposed to be more knowledgeable and to even educate the boys before they send them on streets. And so by our constant orientation to Nigerians, by our constant sensitization, people will get to know their obligations and their rights.
How can people get to you? Because people want to know how can they get counsel, and counsel is one thing. Then strategy to get their justice, because is it Professor Shoyinka, justice is the best game of humanity. Without justice, there is no balanced humanity. So how do they get the formation from you and follow up to get their capping properly enshrined?
Okay, I'm going to be calling some numbers now, and such numbers should not be disturbed unnecessarily. They are meant strictly for WhatsApp. If you want to know more about that which you are not conversant with, you just need to send messages to these numbers I'll be calling. And the first number is 080 2393 7252. Also 080 2948 4655. And another one is 081 2157 9509. And the last is 080 2633 2917.
Of course, those numbers, viewers, those numbers are already scrolling on the screen. You can see those numbers. So if you have anything in your area, maybe you fall victim into a very bad service manager, like in the case in the 51 LCDs around Ekoro, Ojokoro, Lerato, up to Jaya, Meron, you have to just make a complaint. Those numbers are not for call. Just make a complaint. If your case deserves a call back, they will call you back. And if there's any other thing, you're going to get the email too, which is also scrolling.
It is so painful. It is so heartbreaking that some of our CDAs are not helpful. They are not helping matters at all.
That's a good one, man.
Some of our CDAs, and I want to put it straight to them, if they're not going to be faithful to anybody, they should remember one day. They should remember a day that there will be no more. Each and every one of us should remember a day that we will be no more on the surface of the earth. Our CDAs, I have seen the evils perpetrated by our community leaders, orchestrated the plans from some of the managers of the discos. And so that is why you see them boasting that they will do this to you, they will do this to you. I have been opportune to be in meetings where I see community leaders call in and instruct business managers or undertaking managers that no, don't give this house supply on this so this. When you bring that transformer, don't let it, they don't even know anything, and so they go hanky panky and they are lying with the distribution company staffers to punish unlawfully the consumers, which they are also part of. I need to say something, and I'm so angry about it. Our community leaders are not helping. How do you explain when some community leaders come together to plan evils, to just come up with some evil acts, to be meted on consumers? The consumers that they are ignorantly, they don't even know they are part of the consumers. They are part of the consumers. I have been opportune, to the glory of God, to witness about 2 or 3 meetings where our community leaders will call in to instruct undertaking managers or instruct business managers that this particular street, these 2 houses, take them off. I want to believe that some of our community leaders are on payroll of some distribution companies, and that is why they are doing this, which is not even lawful, because they are constituted authority. It then means what? Of course, I agree they are constituted authorities. Their constituted authorities also say they should allow distribution company to do their job, and they should allow consumers to also react. according to what the law has stated and stipulated. It is not their duty. What they are considered for is different from distribution companies. They don't have any reasons to just dive into issues that they don't have knowledge about.
Are they not afraid of death eventually by God?
They are not, and I want them to remember something. If we are not going to be afraid of anything, if they are not going to be conscious of anything, they should be conscious of the fact that one day they will all leave this surface. One day each and every one of us seated here will leave this planet. One day these are community leaders that have decided to be part of plans orchestrated by some distribution companies who are so mean on consumers. One day they will not leave the surface of this earth. So they should always have that registered at the back of their mind.
And they will not just leave alone. I think they are also going to burn somewhere.
Yeah, of course they have kids. Yeah. They have
no, they're going to go to the wrong judgment, lake of fire.
Of course, no. Maybe they don't remember that there's something called eternity. Eternity has two parts. There is eternity of life. There is eternity of gnashing of teeth. There is eternity of weeping. There is eternity of sorrow, and there is eternity of life enjoyment on the right hand of God. And so, by now, I want to believe they should prepare their mind and think about the two eternities where God has given us, where the two holy books had given us to so knowledge about. And so if they are doing this, they should always register this daily, that one day they will leave the surface earth and they are going to be accountable to only one person, the creator of the universe.
I think you should also give the same message, man, on the last note to the service managers. Somebody like Fred Udogbo, who landlords, elderly people told us during our investigation is so rude to even the elderlies. When they come for a meeting, he sits them down for hours. Then when he comes out, he tells them to go. He does not have anything to say. Just go and pay. All he will say is, Oga, go and pay your money. Then that is one. Then two, on the last note, he also had this attitude of saying that according to a community we went to, he said that his mother has cooked him, nobody can remove him in this position. And true to what he said, despite the campaign, despite the video, even despite all the uproar in London, everywhere, he's still sitting on that seat. So what I could say to people like that who enjoy making life miserable for people, especially on the issue of as simple as let there be light?
I am particular about Fred Obodo, who has said his mother has prepared him that he should take this to Bangladesh. One day his mother is going to leave this planet. One day he is going to leave this planet. One day he's going to be accountable to someone. Whatever he likes, if he like, they should cook him in 10 liters of drum. If he like, they should cook him like he has always boasted. You can imagine a public servant saying, somebody who is doing a public service, who is holding a public office, saying to the populace that his mother has cooked him. You can imagine that effrontery. You don't even know the person you're addressing. What the person is made of. Should that even be the language when you are on official duty? Has it come to Jogwami, where we watch on African movies? Has it become as Ikeja Electric want to turn Fred Odogbo under Abletolo? Do they want to turn him to Jogwami or African Magic Films to community? Soon or sooner, community will tell, such communities will still tell Ikeja Electric to come and take up their source of supply. Then they will know that they are in business at that particular franchise area because people are still paying for electricity supply.
Yes, they also, on the last note, people also want to know how can they get their citizen accounts, because most of the time they tell you, it's the engine, we put a transformer in your area, so we come and calculate, we give those that are prepared, we give them their money, then the remaining we put it on you. I mean, apart from Cappy now that's going to solve most of this problem, how can people ask for the citizen account? And is there a way? Because I think Cappy has solved it. So
on that, like the same way you walk into your bank where you have your banking operations run, where you can request for your outstanding account, it's the same way you can walk into your undertaking office that serves you your electricity supply. You can have same way request for your account statement for every, I want to put it, do not be deceived by anybody that says we'll come to your transformer, whatever that say that all of you are not, all your accounts are on the same line, agreed, on the same network. But I want to say it to you truthfully this afternoon that you all have your separate and different accounts. If you have 4 flats in a building, you all are, either you are on estimated billing or capping, or okay, there's nothing like estimated billing longer. Either you are having your prepaid meter or you're on capping methodology. I want to tell you that you all have your different account number, and so my account number could end with 567, your account number could end with 568. You are not on same account number. The same way you can walk into your bank, you can walk in to ascertain some facts when you want to make your right things. Ask, you work, if of course you can approach a senior officer, probably your undertaking manager. If the lesser officers are not being concerned about it, then it will be printed out, and from there you can take up your cases.
I want to thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful orientation and this very lively education. Well, this is where we're going to end it with Madam Kenny Jones, the Secretary of the All Electricity Consumer Forum, Lagos, Nigeria. We want to thank this organization for the good job of taking Nigeria by their head, letting them to know what is right, their laws, their rights, and the rules of engagement between the customer and the service provider. We are still going to continue on this. It has not ended here. The campaign continue, the discourse continue, but till next time we bring another very interesting personality on this issue. Keep watching Asabe Afrika TV. God bless you. Goodbye.